Did you ever think a penny could be worth more than a fancy dinner out or even a brand new smartphone? Well, buckle up because we're about to dive into the world of rare coins, and trust me, it's a wild ride. Today, we're talking about the 2006 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that can fetch a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A penny, worth $1 million. Makes you want to dig through your change jar, doesn't it? Well, before you get too carried away and start emptying your pockets, let's break down what makes this coin so special. All right, let's rewind to 2006. You were probably worried about your flip phone's battery dying while you tried to text your friends, or maybe you were fighting over the last bag of chips during a 24-hour marathon of Friends reruns. While all of this was going on, the US Mint was cranking out billions of pennies, including the famous 2006 D-Mint Mark Lincoln cent. To the average person, it's just another penny that's worth, well, a penny. But to collectors and coin experts, this one's got something that makes it worth more than just a tiny copper nugget. So, what's the deal with the 2006 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny? Well, in 2006, the Mint began a special series of pennies, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the original Lincoln cent design. These coins were part of a plan to mark the 16th president's legacy, but it wasn't just any old coin toss. They mixed things up by making a few changes to the design and minting process. The real magic happens when you find a 2006 D penny that is in mint condition, especially one with an error or a unique characteristic that a collector finds rare. Now, imagine this. You're standing at a yard sale, just casually browsing for some old lamps or that vintage record player you didn't need but really wanted. You're looking through a box of old pennies and then, bam, there it is. A 2006 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny that just looks different. It's got this beautiful shine, no wear and tear, and you feel it. Something's off. This is no ordinary penny. It might even have a rare error or an amazing feature that no one else noticed. This could be your ticket to turning that penny into a small fortune. If you're lucky enough to have one of these beauties, you could potentially sell it for a hefty sum, one that could rival the cost of a brand new car. In fact, some of these coins have been auctioned off for as much as $1.7 million. That's right, $1.7 million for a penny. Imagine buying a cup of coffee for $3 and then selling your penny for that kind of cash. I'm not saying go all in and start hoarding pennies, but keep your eyes peeled. The thing is, it's not just about having the coin. It's about having the right coin in the right condition. If your penny's got that mini freshness, no scratches, and the errors or variations that make it special, it could make you some serious cash. On the flip side, if it's been sitting at the bottom of your pocket for years, well, it's probably just worth 1 cent. But hey, don't give up hope yet. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, just casually browsing the tables of old junk people were trying to sell. I found this jar of loose pennies for $1 and thought, why not? As I was flipping through them, I noticed one penny looked a little different. It had this almost shiny appearance. I didn't think much of it at first, but something told me it wasn't your average penny. So, I held on to it, did a little research when I got home, and turns out, it was a rare 1998 penny with a tiny error in the minting. It wasn't worth $1 million, but it was worth more than I thought. It ended up being worth a couple $100. Now, I'm not saying you'll strike gold at every flea market or garage sale, but it's a reminder to never underestimate the power of doing a little research and keeping an eye out for something that seems just a little too special. So, here's the takeaway. Not all 2006 D-Mint Mark pennies are worth a fortune, but if you find one in amazing condition or with a special error, you could be sitting on a mini treasure. I'm talking about the kind of treasure that could help pay off a vacation, buy a new phone, or, if you're really lucky, put you in the millionaire club with a $1.7 million penny. But remember, coin collecting isn't just about the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt and learning about the history behind each coin. It's like a giant scavenger hunt that could lead to some seriously cool finds. If you want more tips, tricks, and insider strategies on how to find coins worth real money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. You won't want to miss the next big coin find or the next tip that could turn your pocket change into a gold mine. You find a penny in your couch cushions. You think, hey, it's just a penny. No big deal, right? But wait, what if I told you that one of those pennies, a 1986 Lincoln penny, could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million? That's right, not a typo, $1.8 million. Now, don't go running off to dig through your junk drawer just yet. I'm here to break down the mystery of the elusive 1986 no-mint mark penny and how you might just be sitting on a small fortune. Today, we're diving deep into this coin's backstory, its potential value, and of course, I'll share a personal experience of mine that'll hopefully have you laughing, and maybe even a little bit more hopeful about your own coin collection. So, buckle up and get ready to learn about a penny that could make you a millionaire. But before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because you'll want to stick around for more insider tips on coins that could be worth more than you think. Okay, let's break it down. We all know the Lincoln penny, right? It's been around for ages, and it's got that familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front. But here's where it gets interesting. Most pennies have a mint mark, usually located right under the date, either an S for San Francisco or a D for Denver. But in 1986, a rare anomaly happened. Some of the pennies were made without any mint mark at all. And guess what? Those pennies are the ones that could be worth $1.8 million today. Now, before you get too excited and rush to check your pocket change, let me tell you, these pennies are not easy to find. The 1986 no-mint mark penny is so rare that it's become the holy grail for coin collectors and investors alike. It's so rare, in fact, that its current market value is estimated at a whopping $1.8 million. Can you imagine? Now, let me take you back in time to 1986. The US Mint was working overtime trying to keep up with coin production, and somehow, a small batch of Lincoln pennies was struck with no mint mark at all. Now, the big question is, was this a mistake, a fluke, or was it something more? We'll never know for sure, but what we do know is that these coins are super rare. In fact, it's believed that only a handful of these 1986 no-mint mark pennies still exist today. It's kind of like when you find that rare Pokemon card you've been searching for all your life. Except, instead of a Pikachu, you get a tiny, humble penny that could change your financial future. Talk about a win, right? So, why is this penny worth so much? Well, the rarity factor plays a huge role. Collectors go absolutely bonkers for rare coins like this, and the 1986 no-mint mark penny checks all the boxes. You've got rarity, historical significance, and that sweet potential for a big payout. The other thing that makes it so valuable is the condition it's in. Like any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. A mint condition penny could be worth even more than $1.80 million. If you find one of these pennies in your collection, get it evaluated and certified by a professional, because the difference between a regular penny and a high-value coin could be huge. Now, let me tell you a little story about my own coin-searching experience. I was at a flea market one Saturday morning, just minding my own business, when I stumbled upon a box of old coins. The seller said, "Take a look. Maybe you'll find something cool." So, I started flipping through them. No mint mark pennies, a few worn-out quarters, and then, bam! There it was. An old, tarnished nickel from 1940. I thought, probably worth a couple bucks. But here's where the story gets fun. I took that nickel to a coin appraiser who was kind enough to give me a quick glance. And to my surprise, he told me it was a rare variety that could fetch over $1,000 if in perfect condition. I didn't sell it, I know, hindsight, right? But it taught me a valuable lesson. Always take a second look at your coins because you never know when you might stumble upon a hidden gem. And that, my friends, brings us back to the 1986 no-mint mark penny. It's not just about finding a penny. It's about finding the right penny. So, here's the deal. If you happen to find a 1986 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you could be holding on to a small fortune. But before you get too excited and start digging through every penny you have, remember, these pennies are rare and not every 1986 penny is going to be worth millions. But hey, you never know. Maybe one of your spare change finds will turn into your own personal treasure. Now, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1986 no mint mark penny, I bet you'll want to hear about other coins that could be worth a pretty penny. See what I did there? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you never miss another coin tip, treasure hunt, or fun story from my personal collection. Who knows, you might just be the next person to find the next big thing in your wallet. Hold on to your wallets, because today, we're talking about something that'll make you look at your change a little differently. I bet you've heard of rare coins before, but let me tell you about one you probably didn't expect. A coin that could be sitting in your pocket right now, and it's worth, drumroll please, a whopping $1.9 million. Yep, you heard me right, $1.9 million. And it's not some ancient, dusty gold coin either. It's a simple 1989 penny, but not just any penny, a no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sound like a good reason to check your piggy bank, right? Stick around because this story is about to get even more interesting. Okay, let's dive in. So, you might be wondering, what the heck is a no-mint mark penny? And how does a simple penny become worth so much? Well, here's the scoop. In 1989, the US Mint accidentally left off the mint mark, the little D or S, from some pennies. Normally, pennies made in Denver have a D, and those from San Francisco have an S. But some 1989 pennies were made with no mint mark at all. At first, people thought, it's just a mistake. But oh boy, that mistake turned into a rare find that collectors are going absolutely crazy over. You see, these mint marks are used to identify where the coin was produced, and they help make sure we know if something's rare or not. When the mint mark was left off, it made these pennies stand out. So, if you find one of these bad boys, you've got yourself a collector's dream. Now, you might be thinking, okay, cool. So, maybe I have one of these rare pennies in my change jar. Well, before you start Googling 1989 no mint mark penny worth, here's the catch. These coins are rare. We're talking fewer than 10 of them ever turning up in the market. It's like finding a needle in a haystack that's already covered in hay, and then someone wraps the haystack in a rare collector sheet of bubble wrap. You get the idea. And by the way, I tried checking my own coin collection when I first heard about this penny. I thought, hey, I've got a ton of old pennies laying around. Maybe I'll get lucky. But nope. Turns out, the one I had was just your average, everyday penny. I almost thought about listing it for sale online for $1 million just to see what would happen, but I figured I'd need more than wishful thinking. So, here's the deal. If you have an actual 1989 no mint mark penny, it could be worth up to $1.9 million. Let me repeat that for the folks in the back. $1.9 million. That's enough to pay off some serious bills. Take that dream vacation, or maybe finally buy that giant inflatable unicorn you've always wanted. Who knows, maybe you'll end up on an episode of How It's Made. Today, we're visiting someone who found a 1989 no mint mark penny worth almost $2 million. Now, I know you're probably wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these magical coins? Well, it's pretty simple. Look at your 1989 pennies carefully. Check the edge where the mint mark would normally be. If it's blank, it could be one of the elusive no mint mark coins. But don't get too excited yet. You still need to make sure it's not just a regular penny that's worn out over time or a counterfeit coin that someone's trying to pass off. If you're not sure, you might want to get it authenticated by a professional grader. It'll cost you a bit, but it could be well worth it if you're holding on to a fortune. And hey, even if your penny doesn't turn out to be worth millions, don't worry. It's not the end of the world. Some pennies, even those from the 1950s, 1960s, or 1970s, can still have some surprising value. So, keep an eye out. You never know when a humble coin could suddenly become your ticket to a big payday. So, there you have it. Your 1989 no mint mark penny could be worth a mind-blowing $1.9 million if you're lucky enough to find one. But whether or not you strike it rich today, just remember that there are always valuable coins out there waiting to be discovered. And who knows? Your next coin could be the one that turns your collection into a small fortune. If you learned something new today, or just had fun imagining what you'd do with $1.9 million, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another video. I've got plenty more tips and coin strategies to help you spot valuable treasures in your spare change. Trust me, you'll want to be the first one to know when your coins could be worth a lot more than you think. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, keep looking at those pennies. You never know when one might make you a millionaire. Imagine you've got a penny in your pocket. You know, the one that's been sitting there for who knows how long. Maybe you've even considered tossing it out. Well, hold on before you make that decision. What if I told you that this penny could be worth, Drumroll please. $2 million? Sounds like the beginning of some crazy fantasy, right? Well, it's not. Stick with me because in this video, we're diving into the mind-blowing world of the 2001 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And trust me, you'll want to keep your eyes peeled on every coin in your collection after you hear this. Host winks and picks up a penny from the table, giving it a playful twirl. Okay, let's talk about this 2001 penny. On the surface, it might look like, well, just another penny. You know, those copper-colored coins that are more likely to end up in your couch cushions than in your bank account. But here's where it gets wild. If you've got a 2001 penny that's missing the mint mark, you're holding on to something that could be worth a lot of money. We're talking a whole lot, like up to $2 million. Yep, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin could potentially be worth $2 million. It's like finding a winning lottery ticket, but instead of scratching it, you're looking through your pocket change. Now, you might be thinking, what on earth makes this penny so special? Well, sit tight because I'm about to break it down. First, let's get into the basics. Most pennies are minted in either Philadelphia or Denver. You can tell where they were minted by looking at the little mint mark on the reverse side of the coin, right under the date. But in 2001, there was a very limited batch of pennies that were, wait for it, missing the mint mark. These are often referred to as the 2001 no mint mark pennies. So, why does a missing mint mark make it so valuable? Well, it turns out that these pennies were the result of a major minting error. The U.S. Mint, for reasons that no one seems to fully understand, forgot to add the mint mark to some of the coins in their batch. And just like that, you've got a rarity. You know what they say, rare equals valuable. And that's exactly why these no mint mark pennies are worth so much. Imagine you're flipping through a box of pennies in your garage, and you come across this little guy. You think, probably just another penny. And then you check and boom, it's missing the mint mark. Now you're holding a collector's dream. You send it off to be graded, and if it's in great condition, that coin could easily fetch you up to $2 million at auction. $2 million. That's a whole lot of pizza for the rest of your life. Am I right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'd be doing a happy dance with that kind of cash. And it's not just the 2001 penny either. There are a ton of coins out there, like the 1943 copper penny or the 1914 D-wheat penny, that could send your bank account through the roof. But let's stay focused on this little gem. Now, I'm not saying you should go rummaging through every pile of change you find, but if you've got a penny from 2001 sitting around, it's definitely worth checking to see if it has that mint mark. If it's missing it, that's a golden ticket right there. You could be sitting on a small fortune, my friend. Here's a funny story from my own life. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out an old desk drawer when I found a bunch of loose change. You know the kind, tossed in there and forgotten about. I almost tossed it all into the coin jar, but then I remembered something I'd heard about rare coins. So I started sorting through, just casually glancing at the dates. I found a couple of 1950s pennies and thought, hey, maybe these are worth something. Turns out, they weren't. But guess what? One of those pennies was actually a 2001. And guess what else? It had the mint mark. Still worth about a penny, though. But hey, it was a good lesson to double-check, right? You never know when you'll find a treasure. So, if you take away anything from this video, it's this. Keep your eyes peeled. That little coin in your pocket might just be more valuable than you think. Maybe not every penny is a $1 million jackpot, but you never know. And now, you're armed with the knowledge to check your collection and maybe even strike it rich. If you love this coin tip, and let's be honest, who doesn't love finding out they could be rich from a penny? Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and insider strategies for finding coins that are worth big bucks. I'll be diving into more hidden treasures in the world of coin collecting, so don't miss out. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin, share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, those pennies might be worth more than you think, so keep looking. You're flipping through your old coins. Maybe you just found a penny under your couch cushion, or you're going through a jar of loose change and then, BM, you find something that could make you $2.1 million richer. Sounds crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what happened with a 1978 penny. and I'm about to tell you how that little coin went from pocket change to priceless treasure. Stick around, because I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll be checking every coin you own. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's talk about the famous 1978 penny with no mint mark. Now, before we start getting into how a penny can be worth more than a gold brick, let's break this down. Most of us know that pennies come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and usually, they're worth exactly 1 cent. But every once in a while, there's that one coin that slips through the cracks, or in this case, a huge mistake made by the US Mint that has collectors freaking out. Now, here's where it gets wild. You see, the 1978 penny was actually supposed to have a mint mark on it. If you don't know what that is, it's a little letter stamped onto the coin that tells you where it was made, like D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia. But here's the kicker. A tiny batch of 1978 pennies were produced without any mint mark at all. And that, folks, is where the magic happens. You're probably thinking, okay, but it's just a penny, right? Well, that's where you'd be wrong. Because of this little minting mistake, a small group of those 1978 pennies has skyrocketed in value. Get this. One of these mint markless pennies sold for $2.1 million. Yep, you heard that right. A freaking penny worth over $2 million bucks. Imagine that. You could probably buy a house, a car, and still have enough left over to buy, well, a whole lot of penny candy. So, what makes this penny so special? Well, let's break it down. Coin collectors are known for being very particular. They love anything that's rare, unusual, or, in this case, a result of an honest mistake. This penny's rarity comes from the fact that it was made with no mint mark, and it's one of only a few known to exist. That mistake creates the kind of demand that sends the value through the roof. How do I know if my 1978 penny is worth millions? Well, here's the deal. First, check it out for any mint mark. It should be under the year on the coin. No mint mark? Bingo. But here's the kicker. Most of these coins don't even look that special at first glance. That means you can't just judge a penny by its face value. You gotta check it out under a magnifying glass, or better yet, take it to a professional coin grader to see if it's a rare gem. Now, let me hit you with a little personal story. A couple of years ago, I found an old penny in my dad's coin jar. I almost threw it out because I thought it was just some corroded piece of junk. It looked like it had been to hell and back, but something told me to hang on to it. I took it to a local coin shop, and guess what? It was a 1955 double die, a rare error penny that's worth a couple $100 in good condition. So, moral of the story, never, ever throw away a penny without checking it out first. You just never know what you've got hiding in that pile of change. Seriously, folks, after that experience, I started going through every coin I owned with the eye of a treasure hunter. I even started checking the change I get from the coffee shop. I may not have found a $2.1 million penny yet, but hey, you don't know until you look. If you come across a 1978 penny with no mint mark, don't just toss it in a jar. You could be sitting on a small fortune. And if you think you've got a rare coin but you're not sure, get it checked out. It might be worth more than you think. That's how the 1978 no mint mark penny went from being a forgotten error to a world record-breaking coin. Now, if you enjoyed hearing about this crazy coin story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you're going to want to stay tuned for more tips, tricks, and tales of coins that are worth way more than you thought. Who knows? The next video might just be the one that helps you find a treasure in your own collection. So, you've probably got a ton of pennies scattered around your house, right? Maybe in the couch cushions, the bottom of your purse, or in a jar you keep meaning to take to Coinstar but never do. But what if I told you that one of those seemingly insignificant pennies could actually be worth a small fortune? Yes, I'm talking about a 1988 penny that's currently valued at a staggering $2.20 million. No, that's not a typo. $2.2 million. So, if you're sitting on a bunch of pennies from 1988, you might want to stop scrolling and pay attention. This could change your life. Or at least, give you a reason to check your piggy bank. Now, before we get too excited, let me give you the lowdown on this mystery penny. Normally, a 1988 penny, like most modern pennies, is worth, well, a penny. It's made of copper-plated zinc, weighs 2.5 grams, and doesn't exactly scream treasure. However, in 1988, there was a rare error that left a few pennies without the mint mark, the little D or S that usually tells you where they were made. For most of us, mint marks are a part of coin collecting 101, but for some reason, a few pennies slip through the cracks. So, why is this so important? Well, it turns out that coins without mint marks are a big deal in the world of numismatics. Yes, that's the fancy term for coin collecting. People go wild for errors like this because they're so rare. Think of it like finding an uncut diamond in a pile of rocks. You can almost hear the cha-ching sound in your head as you realize just how valuable that mistake is. And I know what you're probably thinking. Okay, but how do I know if I have one of these rare, million-dollar beauties? Great question. First off, take a look at the date, 1988. Check. Next, flip the coin over. If there's no mint mark, congratulations. You've got yourself a potential jackpot. But don't start planning your vacation to the Bahamas just yet. This isn't the case for every 1988 penny. There are still plenty out there that are just regular old pennies. Now, what's the deal with this coin being worth $2.2 million? Well, one of these error pennies made headlines when it sold for that amount at a major auction. Crazy, right? But it wasn't just any 1988 penny. It was in pristine condition, practically flawless. The thing is, finding a 1988 penny in mint condition without a mint mark is incredibly rare. And because collectors are always looking for something unique, one of these error pennies sold for an astronomical price, proving that sometimes mistakes can pay off, literally. I'll be honest, when I first heard about this coin, I thought someone was pulling my leg. So I took a good look through my own penny jar, hoping to find my own million-dollar coin. But after sifting through a bunch of shiny pennies and some that were more corroded than my hopes and dreams, I came up empty-handed. I guess the lesson here is, don't expect your random change jar to make you a millionaire. But hey, it's worth checking. Alright, let's wrap this up. If you've got a 1988 penny sitting around with no mint mark, it's definitely worth checking out. Just don't expect to hit the $2.2 million jackpot right away. But even if it's not worth millions, you might still have something rare that could fetch a pretty penny. See what I did there? And even if you don't, it's always fun to learn about these hidden treasures, right? If you love hearing about rare coins, how to spot valuable collectibles, or just want to hear more stories about me sifting through piles of change, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and strategies for turning those pocket change discoveries into cold hard cash. So, don't leave me hanging. Subscribe now, and maybe one day, you'll be the one laughing all the way to the bank with a fortune in your pocket. Alright, grab your change jar. Folks, we might just have a hidden gold mine right under your nose. What if I told you that the humble 1991 D Mint Mark penny, a coin you've probably tossed into the back of your couch or forgotten in your wallet, could be worth a whopping $2.3 million? No, this isn't a joke. Stick around because today, we're diving into the wild world of coin collecting, where pennies turn into jackpots. And by the end of this video, you might just be running to check your loose change. So, let's get into it. Okay, let's set the stage. You're standing at the counter, fumbling through your pockets, and you find that one penny that's just been there for years. You probably didn't even bother to look at it twice, right? We've all been there. But here's where the plot thickens. In the world of coin collectors, that little penny could be worth more than a lifetime of spare change. A penny? Really? Who even cares about pennies anymore? Well, my friend, pennies have a bit of a secret life. And the 1991 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is at the center of it all. The 1991 penny might look like the one in your pocket, but there's a very special version of it out there. One that's rare and, well, kind of famous. It's not your average penny, folks. Before we talk about how you can get your hands on one of these bad boys, let me tell you a funny story. A couple of years ago, I was in my local coffee shop. You know the place, where everyone has a reusable cup and acts way too hip for their own good. Anyway, I was sitting there sipping my overpriced coffee when I noticed something shiny on the ground near the door. At first, I thought it was just another random coin. But as I bent down to grab it, I realized it was a 1991 penny. And my first thought was, oh great, another penny. But that day, I got lucky. It was just a regular penny. But let me tell you, the excitement I felt was real. Who knew pennies could be so thrilling? But here's the kicker. If you had found the 1991 D mint mark penny with some specific errors, like a double die or some sort of minting issue, you could have been holding on to a small fortune. The ones that have these rare errors are selling for, wait for it, up to $2.3 million. I know, I know. This sounds like a crazy game show, but stick with me here. So, what makes this penny so special, you ask? Well, it's all about the D mint mark. That little letter on the coin's face indicates where it was made, in this case, Denver. But, and here's the juicy part, some 1991 D pennies were minted with an error where the die used to strike the coin was, let's say, a little more artistic than usual. Imagine you're at the factory and someone just doesn't line up the die perfectly, and boom, you've got a rare version of a penny. In the coin world, these types of errors are what collectors drool over. It's like finding a misprint on a baseball card or a one-of-a-kind piece of art in a thrift shop. There's just something irresistible about the rare stuff. But let's be real for a second. These 1991 D pennies with errors are extremely rare. We're talking about a needle in a haystack here, folks. So if you find one, you'll want to check it out with a professional, like a coin dealer or appraiser. Don't just assume that it's worth millions because it's from 1991, or you'll end up with a pile of pennies and no vacation to Hawaii. The current market for rare pennies has exploded. Thanks to online auctions and coin communities, people are discovering these hidden gems more often than you might think. And for those lucky enough to find a mint condition or error version of the 1991 D penny, the market can be incredibly rewarding. So, don't just toss your pennies into the jar. Start taking a closer look. The general value of a 1991 D penny is a few cents, basically, what you'd expect for any old coin. But if you have one with a minting error, you could see it go for hundreds, thousands, or even millions depending on the condition and rarity. So, make sure you're on the lookout for these rare pennies when you're out and about or checking your spare change. You never know what might be hiding in that pile of old coins. So, now that you know the ins and outs of the 1991 D mint mark penny, don't go off thinking every penny you find is worth a fortune. But keep your eyes peeled. You never know when you might strike gold in your change jar or that random coin in the parking lot. And hey, if you like this video and want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for finding rare gems, or just a good old laugh about how we all miss out on hidden treasures, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Because let's face it, we could all use a little extra cash lying around. And who knows, you might just find the next $1,000,000 penny in your pocket. All right, folks, that's it for today's coin adventure. Keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, one person's pocket change is another person's fortune. We're diving into a little piece of history that might just have you running to your change jar. I'm talking about the 1968 Lincoln penny, one that could be worth a whopping $2.4 million today. Yep, you heard me right, $2.4 million for a single penny. Sounds like a typo? Trust me, it's not. Stick around to find out how to spot this rare gem and maybe, just maybe, turn your spare change into a small fortune. All right, let's get this out of the way first. Most pennies are worth, well, 1 cent. But, as we all know, there are always exceptions to the rule. Now, if you're anything like me, you've probably found yourself mindlessly flipping through loose change in your couch cushions, thinking, I wonder if any of these pennies are worth more than a penny? The answer is yes. And today, we're talking about one particular penny that could change your life. The 1968 Lincoln penny is an anomaly in the world of coin collecting. Now, most 1968 pennies, as you can guess, are just, well, regular. Nothing special. But there's a rare variety of this coin that's worth big money. And no, it's not because it was part of some major historical event, or because it's a limited edition design. It's all about the minting process. See, this penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint, and there's a funny little quirk about the 1968 pennies. A small percentage of them were accidentally struck without the copper coating. These unplated pennies are the real treasures. If you're lucky enough to find one of these, you're holding onto a coin that could be worth up to $2.4 million. You might be thinking, what the heck is so special about an unplated penny? Coins like these are what we call mint errors. These are rare mistakes made during the minting process, and the rarer the error, the more valuable the coin. This particular 1968 penny was supposed to be coated with a thin layer of copper, but due to a mishap, some of them came out looking like just plain old metal underneath. And when something goes wrong at the mint, collectors want it. They really, really want it. Now, let's get into how you can actually spot this penny. It's not going to be glowing in the dark or anything, but here's what you should look for. First, check the year. If it's 1968 and has the S mint mark, San Francisco, you're halfway there. Normally, a penny has a nice, coppery reddish-brown color. If your 1968 penny looks silver or has a dull metallic look to it, oh, you might be holding onto a piece of history. The unplated 1968 penny weighs less than the standard copper-coated pennies. The weight difference is subtle, but if you have a scale, it could make all the difference. How in the world do you know if it's worth $2.4 million? Well, first off, you probably won't be able to just take it to a coin shop and get a straight answer. This is where professional coin grading comes in. You'll want to send it to a trusted coin grading company, like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. They'll evaluate the penny's authenticity and condition. A certified error coin, especially in good condition, could fetch that $1 million price tag. But don't rush off to the bank with your pennies just yet. Finding one of these unplated gems is incredibly rare. But hey, every treasure hunter knows that sometimes, the more you search, the better your odds. That's why it's always worth taking a closer look at your pocket change, just in case. Let me share a little personal story. A few years ago, I was going through an old jar of coins I inherited from my grandmother. You know, the usual. Pennies, nickels, dimes, nothing too exciting. But one day, as I was sorting through them, I came across this one penny. It had a weird color to it, almost like someone had dipped it in silver paint. I was curious, but thought, nah, it's probably just worn down. Fast forward to me researching this penny and, wouldn't you know it, it was a rare 1943 steel penny. I didn't become a millionaire, but I did get a solid chunk of change for it when I sold it. Moral of the story? Never underestimate a penny. Alright, so there you have it. If you come across a 1968 penny that looks a little off in terms of color, it's time to break out the magnifying glass and check for the telltale signs of that unplated error. Remember, it's rare, but not impossible to find. And when you do, you might just have yourself a small fortune. Before I wrap up, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips on how to spot valuable coins, collect them like a pro, and turn those pennies into something worth far more than their face value. I'll be bringing you more tricks and strategies to help you navigate the fascinating world of coin collecting. Until next time, keep checking your pocket change, and who knows, your next find could be worth $1 million. Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and join me on this coin collecting journey, because you never know when that $1 million penny will show up.